Hi there, one and all. Grob here of Serbian black metal band Kolac. First of all, I want to greet all the readers, writers, and subscribers to Antichrist magazine, and I want to thank Alex for giving us the opportunity to present Kolac to as wide as audience as we can hope to. I will spare you the boring details about the band's biography, etc. We were started back in 2006 by Zlorog and I. Over the course of the years, we have become a four-piece black metal band that we are today. The first album we published in 2011, the second one in 2014, and well, a decade later, 2024, we have a brand new record out on Pest Records. It is our namesake. It's also titled Kolac. It's been out since February this year, and there we are. We are promoting it as we speak, and at this very moment for Antichrist magazine. So let's start with the questions. The meaning behind the band's name was well, we thought of a band of a name in Serbian because we wanted something that was in our language, but at the same time we didn't want to how to put it Serbianize it all that much and make it relatively accessible to people outside our country. Mostly because our goal wasn't to present ourselves only to our friends and families back in Serbia. We wanted the whole world to be able to read and write the band's name easily. So we went with Kolac, which only brought us trouble with Slavic languages, in which the name can bear some quite differing connotations. Anyway, the original name, the original meaning of the name is the stake, which is a medieval torture instrument. It's basically a pointy stick that was used to impale a person, causing it to die painfully, gruesomely, and over a fairly vast amount of time. It sounded gruesome enough and it sounded appropriate enough for a black metal band. So we went with it, and somehow we honored the band's name just now with the namesake album that well bears the band's name and is also a loose concept on the word itself. We call it a loose concept because it's not in its entirety dedicated to Kolac, but most of it is tied to either the instrument itself, some groups of people or individuals who died of it, or well, it's tied to medieval times, gruesome times, brutal times, with all sorts of cruel punishments to be placed upon all sorts of different people. I sort of started explaining the new record in the previous answer, but to expand on it, the album is a loose concept, and basically the title track of the album and the title track for the band is a direct follower of the word, of the band's name, and of the band's philosophy in and of itself. Followed by the introduction, which we took and slightly defiled from a Serbian movie called Banović Strahinja. Basically, in the introduction, you can hear the noise of, an actor in that particular case, but a very good one, being impaled in that movie. So, following on the introduction, the title track is a rather direct message to what the album is supposed to convey. It's basically a song that calls out for revenge on religious users of the instrument. It calls out for both major religions because how to explain it? In the Balkans, we were for the better part of them. Well, not the better part. I think the whole of the Middle Ages, we were under Ottoman rule, and the Turkish were very fond of kolats as an instrument of the stake, and used it, to punish basically from bandits to just innocent people to Christians. And the Christians never left them in debt, so to speak. They used it as well, so it was quite a religious instrument of torment and death throughout the Middle Ages. So Christians, being Christians, especially in the Middle Ages, didn't use it just to serve revenge on the Ottomans. There was also all sorts of cruel witchcraft handling trials, so to speak. They were never in trials. So in that song in particular, we deal with the revenge towards religious zealots of all kinds, Muslims, Christians, whatever. And that's basically the main message, because even in the following tracks, like Monsieur de la Nuit, where only the title is in French, don't expect any French words within the song. There's also a story about French serial killer, who ended up on the stake. Though in Western Europe the stake was, let's say, mildly used, as opposed to the Balkan scenarios. Basically, he was tied to a pole, which they called a stake, and burned to death. Similar to the hero of the song Epur si muove, which, you all know the story of Renaissance Italian scientists, astronomers, most of all, who also burned at the stake. The album continues on with themes such as burning at the stake, and closes with a couple of relatively old tracks. Well, not relatively, they are at least a decade old, if not more. But we now basically, for the first time, we recorded them properly. They were long-time hits in our live sets, so we decided to go with them, especially since they fit the bill, so to speak. Jebote Bog and Raskršten, both of them being in Serbian, carry that brutal, raw, primitive energy that associates with Middle Ages. And also their lyrics call out to brutal slaughter of well, religious people. In Jebotebog, for instance, there is a scene where a kneeling woman at the altar of a burned down church is being slaughtered. Raskersten holds the chorus, which literally translates to "Never Christ, Never Cross," or was it the other way around? "Never Cross, Never Christ." Whatever the case may be, it fits to the medieval slaughter, to medieval torture techniques, and basically the brutal times that Middle Ages represented and still represent to this day in history books as well as popular literature and movies, pop culture altogether. Now that I think about it, I've pretty much explained the lyrics in the previous answer. What I can expand on it is that not all of it concerns Kolac and the stake as a torture instrument. There are tracks that revolve around similar topics, like I mentioned with the two last songs, Jevatebog and Raskarsten. And then there are songs like Krvokolj, which is basically huh, it's a coined word that our guitar player came up with like a decade ago. Omadan came up with the word, and I expanded on the lyrics, which basically they deal about with the topic of manslaughter, but spanning the entire bloodline, which is loose translation of the song's title. It is basically a manslaughter of the whole bloodline. It deals. I've tried to some extent to dive into psychology, of a person committing that sort of thing, which basically comes to the surface in the closing lines, which translate to no reason, no reasoning, just pure animalistic impulse. Um, it all comes down to it, but there are also tracks like Silence of the Ages, which basically bears nothing. At least it wasn't intended to mean anything regarding the topic of the album. It does connect to a certain point, but not entirely. It does speak of, well, Silence of the Ages and the time, basically the never ending circle. It's not a circle; it's a straight line of time that basically doesn't care about anything we do. We create, we imagine, we achieve or something, or just literally just goes by without taking a slight interest in us, in any of us. So yeah, it was a dark pondering of mine that fit into this particular song, but it's as far as we get from the concept in this case. The album is loosely tied to Kolac, to the stake, not in its entirety, but a good portion of it is either tied to it directly, ready to be burned, right? Or related to topics from the time period when the stake was used at large. so to speak. And that's pretty much all that needs to be said about the lyrics. Lyrics for our band were never way too deep or way too philosophical. More or less because I'm not all that good of a poet. Nor have I ever pondered too much on the lyrics. This time too, the lyrics convey basically the first thing that comes out of me when dealing with a specific topic. I don't evolve. I don't um, ponder on it all too much. I do not carry on or I go straight out, straight in, and straight out, straightforward. Um, Yank out all the words that are within me, within the emotion at this specific moment in time, not 2 months later thinking about what I felt or what I didn't feel. What I felt at the moment is what ended in the booklet, what ended being screamed at you by our good friend Zlorog. Work was executed by an artist from Croatia who goes by the name Entitatem Null Arts. The idea was a mutual one. We had a sort of we had the idea of having the cover be something of again medieval text, and we wanted to expand on it. Of course, having not enough talent to do so, we hired the artist to help us, and I do believe he did a masterful job on it because it perfectly portrays what we wanted on the album, or what we wanted to say in the lyrics, what we wanted people to hear in the music, and what we wanted them to see when they first grabbed their CD. We wanted the same old story, you know. We wanted the cover to express exactly what's behind it, and this one does perfectly so, because he went and did sort of a small illustration for each song in particular, which you will see if you buy the CD and open the booklet. Though you can basically grab a bunch of details on the front cover, which feature inside as well. You can see on the front cover, you can see people being impaled, you can see the churches burning, you can see skulls, you can see death, you can see torment, you can see all the brutality of Middle Ages, especially Middle Ages in the Balkans, where our history is laced with gruesome and grueling tales of Ottomans and Serbs fighting it out at all possible manners. So we wanted to convey that, and that particularly on the front cover. And since we wanted the scenes which were to be portrayed, we wanted them to be local. We didn't want what Western culture thinks of it. We really wanted our own culture to shine through it. So working with an artist from our area, from Croatia really helped because he had the exact same idea of what Kolac is, what we wanted to portray, because he came from the same background as did we. So he had he knew exactly what to draw for our front cover, and he did it. It was a long process. It was tedious, but I think we are both satisfied. We know we are extremely satisfied with how it ended up, and we do hope maybe to someday get it on a bigger format, so that the picture can shine brightly in all its glory. Our story with Pest Records goes, wow, I think it's like 12, 13, 14 years maybe. It's a traditional underground story, underground metal story, where we traded. I bought stuff. I think I bought the Zin or something. It was a trade, or it was this or that. It's just a standard, regular underground metal story of people meeting to because they are maniacs, because they are passionate, because they are in love with the music that's coming out of the underground. So we met a long way, a long way ago, long time ago. We were, I think, interviewed in one of the issues of Slowly We Rot magazine. We featured on the compilation CD and etc. etc. We stayed in touch for throughout the time, and when it came time to look for a label, we sent around hundreds of emails. Well, Adrian was, well, he said we can cooperate, and once we had that offer on the table, well, basically we didn't even consider what he had to offer. We didn't ask about the conditions. We didn't negotiate all that much. I knew who the man was. I knew what the label was. I knew of his capabilities, of his ability to share, promote, well, basically do whatever it takes for a band, for a release. And I do hope the sentiment is mutual. I know it is, but come on. So it was easy. It was really easy, because we are acquaintances for a long time, and funny enough, we never met in person, which is about to change this fall. So yeah, it's a pretty sweet deal, It's nothing massive. It's no there's no big money. There's no massive promotion or big label dreams. Pest Records is an honest label, and Kolac is an honest band. We work on a mutual task of promoting our new album. And so far, Pest Records has done, well, they've done a massive job. We keep finding reviews of our album. We are doing quite a few interviews like this one. It's all going smooth. So I can't complain one bit. I'm extremely happy, and the rest of the band is as well. we are all extremely happy that we managed to work with Pest Records, and that's pretty much it. You know that there's no big story. It all goes the plain underground way, and it is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. That's the one of the reasons I fell in love with underground metal scene, and having deals like this, brilliant. I can't complain about anything. I love Pest Records, and they're doing an awesome job for Kolac. And I know I don't even have to hope. I know Pest Records will do the best possible job for our band on this promotion and for this particular album. Of course, none of us are living off call-outs. None of us are living off music. We all have regular jobs to pay our bills, but doesn't really interfere all that much because we all have, well, sort of a sweet deal on it, and we can get days off if we need if we have a gig or shooting or whatever recording. So it's not a big deal for us. We all work in different areas, like mega different. Like Zlorog is a programmer, he's in IT industry. Omadan is some sort of customer care or customer support or something. Not even quite sure on the term. I'm working in the online sale in a bookstore. Our drummer is also working online. So there's no there is no interesting story here. We are all basic people until we're all basic people from 9 to 5, and when 5 o'clock strikes, whole other story. Elementary school, like most others. Basically, it was sort of a midterm party, if you can call it a party, somewhere in, I think, sixth grade or something like that. Maybe seventh, eighth, but I think it was sixth. Somebody brought stereo to school so we can play music. Somebody played, that same person brought along Metallica, and that was very much it. From that point forward, I started pestering my parents into buying me tapes, bootleg tapes, since there were no original tapes in Serbia back in the late 90s. And they caved. They kept buying it, and allowance went. Complete allowances went to buy more tapes, to eventually buy CDs when I came across a CD player. That was cheap enough for us. Very much the progress was natural, from Metallica to Maiden to, Guns N' Roses, AC/DC, and then onwards, to thrash metal greats, to death metal, to black metal, and here we are, 20 or something years later. Holy hell, it's like a quarter of a century later. I'm still in it, still playing in a band, being a journalist and whatnot. I really do have a lot of occupation with metal, but that's the story. Again, not all that impressive. A story of many others, and it was sort of similar with the rest of the band. It's always the same story, you know. It either is a relative, a brother or sister who gets you into this, or in my case, a friend in elementary school. But you know, it's stuck to this day. While I do know what you mean when you ask about obstacles, the biggest obstacle I ever had to overcome, it wasn't a matter of choice, and that I am still overcoming day after day. It's my broken left shoulder, which I dislocated. Well, it was a long time ago now, maybe 15 years. I dislocated it and broke a couple of stuff. I'm not sure what they are. I'm not sure what they're called or whatever. But I did break something, and for all the therapy I went through, it still doesn't quite work as well as it should. So I do have to compensate quite a bit when I'm playing. Actually, when I do have to, instead of basically moving about my forearm or something like that, I do have to move the arm in its entirety from the shoulder down to my fingers. It doesn't work in another way. And with that in mind, it with every bit more complicated section that I have to play, I do have to find a way how before actually playing it as well as it should. In the early days, I think Zlorog, who is mostly writing music, um, including my lines, tried to take it easy on me, but sometimes it's just impossible, and that's when I well needed to make it happen myself. He Zlorog also found a couple of suitable exercises for me, so that I can well come to grips with my left hand and bass neck. But so through that, and well, basically, you know, it's the love of playing, and the passion I want to display when performing with Kolac. Um, I found a way. Doesn't always work. It does tend to hurt like hell, especially in prolonged periods when we have a longer set. I do need to shake it up a bit after a while to move it around, you know, to have the tendons loosened up a bit, which takes a few seconds, maybe a minute, maybe up to a minute. But then it's okay. But yeah, that's the major obstacle for me. Other obstacles I really never paid all that much attention to. 'Cause, you know, it's always gonna be your surroundings, your family, giving you a weird look when you say you are singing against God. You're singing about torment, about death. When they see you all in black, or stuff like that, or even the surroundings. You can't walk around town without enduring quite a few odd looks. But I never took too much attention of it, because people are gonna be people, and does me no harm, no actual harm. So fuck them. The only one of us in Kolac who I can even imagine working at something non-metal would be Omadan, our guitar player. He already has sort of an ambient project. Uh, well, he's keeping a lid on it for the time being, but eventually it will come out. And he's the one in our band that has the most interest in that sort of performance. For me, particularly, I do enjoy it sometimes. Of course, I enjoy non-metal artists, some of them. But I really don't see myself performing any of that because, well, when I'm performing, I do need a certain energy that I think only metal or metal related genres like punk or hardcore can provide. I don't think I would fit all that easily in, let's say, more mellow genre. And I don't think it will suit my personality or my methods of playing. So no, I do not have an artist outside of the mentioned genres that I would like to perform with. Of course, if you're if you're thinking punk or hardcore as those non-metal, yeah, I do have bands I would love to perform with. Most of them old and familiar to many people on the scene, but those were really more of teenage dreams than actual possibilities that will come up at some point of my life. I think it's all very exciting, though not always up to my taste, but always exciting and unexpected. Um, Coming from humble beginnings, which bands like Venom and Bathory or Hellhammer, it was all primal, and coming to bands today which are incorporating symphonic orchestras or elaborate progressive guitar riffs. uh, guitar Guitars are flying all over the place. Drums are ever more jazzy. The musicians themselves are evolving, are progressing. They are going in all sorts of directions that are not necessarily predictable or fitting to the genre per se, but once included, they somehow find their way into into the aura which black metal needs. It's basically the thing about achieving a certain feeling. It's well, in most cases with black metal's progression, because well, I'm sure everybody knows, it came from pure violence, which was represented in the early music, in the early black metal, in violence, hatred. It was quite simplified in musical as well as emotional sense. And then people started thinking. Black metal musicians started thinking. Started contemplating life, death. Started having emotions. Started acting like human beings, which is something early black metal people, early black metal fans, musicians never thought about. They wanted to be ghouls. They wanted to be otherworldly entities when on stage, when performing. And then it came to a whole new revolution, basically, which led us to well, how to say it? It led us to black metal musicians being actual people, which is extremely important. At least I think so. For instance, a few years back, I've done an interview with Lord Ahriman from Dark Funeral, and I specifically asked him if he would feel weird telling a joke, which is like something normal people do. I do. My friends do. Members of Kolac do that all the time. And he said, yeah, it's quite natural. And you never would have think a band like Dark Funeral had it in them. You see them as these larger than life phantasmas or something, ghosts up on that stage, violent and unrelenting and whatever. And behind it, it's just a bunch of people. And that's basically the biggest change in black metal that I can perceive with my years in the genre. And like I said, with that it gets exciting. You get to hear people singing or playing what are their actual emotions, whether they are sad or depressive or just again violent, aggressive, and the whole range in between. It's all there, and you can hear it for quite a while now. And yeah, it gets you excited about what you're gonna hear next. It's unpredictable, and that's really, really, really good in my opinion, because it allows growth. Whether we are using it in Kolats, I'm not quite so sure. We have evolved quite a bit from our early stuff, but and yeah, nowadays it's much more true to ourselves. But don't think we're quite there with that in that particular aspect, and I don't know. We'll see with the future what it will bring. Hopefully, we can do it even better in the future. who knows, I don't see us quite evolving musically um, in an overly emotional direction, but who knows what the lyrics will bring? Who knows what the music will bring? With Kolac, it's the same as with black metal in general. There's no real saying what will happen next, and that's, like I said, exciting. There's no uh, there's no talk about who sold out or who went this or that direction. It's all very much music. There's not that much talk of killing the posers or something like that. We have matured. We are not kids anymore. We are not burning churches. Though, well, hear it on our brand new album. We might even get to burn some churches. When in doubt, blast. Going for a bit of controversy here. CD. An easy one. Mosh pit. Less of a chance of me getting hit in the head with a boot. Though I am a morning person, I'm going with 12 a.m. studio session. At 6 a.m., I really, really just want a cup of coffee, nothing of rehearsals. I don't feel guilty one single bit. I'm a massive Taylor Swift fan, all of the songs. At the moment, the future for Kolac is, of course, the promotion for the album. We have booked quite a number of shows in Serbia and abroad, and there are talks about more. We are playing in Niš in Serbia this weekend, and then we're off to Zrenjanin, Kragujevac, Belgrade again. Later in the autumn, we have a mini tour through Romania where we hope to meet our label meister Adrian of Pest Records. And there are talks about Bulgaria, Macedonia, Greece. We are booked this summer at Heretic Feast Festival in Croatia. We are looking for gigs in Slovenia, in Bosnia. So there's a whole lot of playing live in the most recent future, and then we will see. We haven't started with any new tracks. It's still way too early, and we do want to promote the crap out of this album before we head into something new. So yeah, for the time being, for the foreseeable future, we will be trying to hit as many stages as possible. Concluding with the European tour, which is supposed to happen early next year. And then we will see after that. We will see exactly what happens and what we may do next. And with that, I would like to thank you, Alex, once again for the opportunity to present Kolac. I'd like to invite all the readers and subscribers, viewers of this video to check us out, to see if they can buy the album, get a piece of the merchandise. We have cool T-shirts, patches, badges, CDs of the previous albums and whatnot. Can check it out on Bandcamp. You can purchase it on Bandcamp. You can go ahead, look at past records for quite a number of other metal bands they are distributing and publishing over there. And that's pretty much it. Enjoy Kolac, enjoy your metal music, and enjoy your days, mornings, evenings, wherever you are, whenever you are viewing this. Bye bye.